Good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream. I'm going to do your September the 19th, just for today, in a meditation. It's good to be with you this morning. I hope you're doing well. The title of the meditation for today is Fellowship. In NA, our joys are multiplied by sharing good days. Our sorrows are lessened by sharing the bad. For the first time in our lives, we don't have to experience anything alone. That comes from the IP number 16 for the Newcomer. When we practice using the steps and the other tools of our program to work through our hardships, we become able to take pleasure in the joys of living clean. But our joys pass all too quickly if we don't share them with others, while hardships borne alone may be long in passing. In the Fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous, we often multiply our joys and divide our burdens by sharing them with one another. We addicts experience pleasures in recovery that sometimes only another addict can appreciate. Fellow members understand when we tell them of the pride we take today in fulfilling commitments, the warmth we feel in mending damaged relationships, the relief we experience in not having to use drugs to make it through the day. When we share these experiences with recovering addicts and they respond with similar stories, our joy is multiplied. The same principle applies to the challenges we encounter as recovering addicts. By sharing our challenges and allowing other NA members to share their strength with us, our load is lightened. The fellowship we have in Narcotics Anonymous is precious. Sharing together, we enhance the joys and diminish the burdens of life in recovery. Just for today, I will share my joys and my burden with other recovering addicts. I will also share in theirs. I am grateful for the strong bonds of fellowship in Narcotics Anonymous. Let's take a moment of silence followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. Fellowship. Our joys are multiplied by sharing the good days, and our sorrows, are lessened by sharing the bad. When I think about that, I think about the times that I made a meeting. I didn't want to make a meeting. I was in a funk, going through something. Really didn't think that I would share because maybe I was just way too angry and I couldn't trust that I wouldn't offend someone by my tone. My tone. It took Narcotics Anonymous for me to even understand the definition of the tone of a share. Yeah, so the tone sometimes is, microaggressive, just threatening sometimes. I mean, when I think of tones, there's tones that come across when people share. Sometimes it goes the other way, where it's more woe is me, the world is against me, that type of thing. So I began to understand through going to Narcotics Anonymous meetings that there's tones that come across when a person shares. I also began to understand that not everything is meant for the table. Some of that stuff is meant for my sponsor, right? But I would go to a meeting in a bad mood, just a rage boiling inside of me. And I would think to myself, there's no way you're going to sit here and share. There's no way. There's no way that you can honestly share exactly what's going on with you and then not somehow come out that you're the bad guy for sharing what you shared. And you know what? I would end up sharing at some point in the meeting, probably closer to the end of the meeting, because I was never a person to just start sharing. I would get up the courage to share where I was at. And most of the time, I can't really think of any times that I wasn't, but I'm just being, being as authentic as I possibly can. I'm sure there's sometimes I shared and I didn't feel better, right? It maybe only increased my anxiety, worried about what people thought now about what I shared. But most of the time, I would say I walked away feeling better than I had come to the meeting. And then I began to hear pain shared as pain cut in half or pain lessened. I began to understand that that's true, but also the joys are increased because when you share something that is positive, I showed up for work. It's been 90 days probation period time at work. I haven't missed a day. I've been on time. Or, I mean, I can remember people coming into a meeting and saying that um, of all the employees on the job, they were the only ones that hadn't missed a day, hadn't used any sick time in a year. And I was like, what? Sick time is, that factored in vacation time. Are you serious? That's possible to do? And I would go up to them and talk to them about what they had just said. That is amazing. That is amazing. You did that? Wow, I'm encouraged. Let me see how much time I can go on this job, right? And it would multiply the joy. And oftentimes I would share my joys and people would come up to me, thank you for sharing that. I'll never forget there was this guy that used to come to the meeting. He still comes. He's got quite a bit of time. And I remember him coming up to me one time and he said, you are such a different person than when you first got here. And I'm like, what? Whatever. Of course I am. Right? I'm different. But I was curious, like, what do you mean? And he said, you used to just wear nothing but black clothes. Nothing but black clothes. Dark clothes all the time. And I said, well, I'm not gothic. I never was, right? I like the color black. It's one of my favorite colors, right? But the point he was making is now you wear all these vibrant colors. You used to never do that. And I was like, you know what? He's paying way too much attention to me. Are you serious? Right? I didn't take it like a compliment or anything. I was just like, why are you paying that much attention? Anyhow, right? So later on, another 10 years or so down the road, I'm thinking, I graduate with did I graduate with my bachelor's? No, I graduated with 2 associates, right? A double associates, communication and international studies. And so I show up at the meeting. I show up at the meeting with my gown, my regalia, my cap, right? I show up at this particular meeting because we're coming from the graduation in the next meeting. And I'm just wanting to give honor to Narcotics Anonymous. So I show up at this meeting with my gown on, my graduation gown. And I'm telling you, there was such a joy. I mean, it was something that I could feel and see on his face. Something that I could feel and see on his face. And I was just, he said, can I take a picture with you and your husband? Let me get my wife. And he grabbed his wife and they took a picture with us. And I was like, wow, I'm sharing my joy, my appreciation, my honor. And someone else is taking pleasure in that as well in the rooms. It is possible, people. I want you to know that we do share our joys and our burdens with other recovering addicts because they understand us, they get us. So I want to encourage you to do that today. Have a beautiful day on purpose. I'll be talking to you soon.